I know that many of you it's already familiarized with this word, especially if you have worked in the sales department. But one thing that I would like to address is not only the concept of what rapport is, but why is it so important for you to apply this technique in order for you to relate with others. So what is rapport per se? Rapport is when you create harmonious relationship with people, and that will create not only lead to really good friendships, but getting you whenever you want to be. And why it is so important to create rapport? I think what it is pretty obvious for what I just said is that not only will allow you to create connection, which for me is the main key or the most important thing in order for you to get where you want to be. Because for being successful, hard work is not the only thing that you need to take into account. But knowing how to build connection is a very powerful thing. So building rapport is what is going to help you to start doing it. Especially if you are the type of person that is really shy, has social anxiety, and don't even know where to start. So which are the main things that you need to take into account? Before that, I would like to also address the fact that sometimes there are people that use this in order to manipulate you. So that's why you don't only need to use this for your benefit on creating actually really good connections, because you're doing it, you know, for building not only good relationship, but to becoming successful and all the stuff, but also to be aware when somebody is using it for you, for creating this type of needing you in spending money and stuff like that. So I would like you just to be aware when somebody is using it for creating this fake sense of connection. And that's why it is also important to be exposed and practice this type of a skill, because as long as you practice, you will also be able to recognize when others are applying it to you, and if they are applying it for a really good reason or a really bad reason. However, I'm going to start which are the things that you need to do in order for you to apply the rapport technique. So before naming the things that people do in order to create rapport, it's necessary to take into account a few things. First, you need to look good. And by this doesn't mean that you need to look overdressed. And I know it sounds biased and it sounds shallow, but it is what it is. If you're looking like a bum or something, or someone, that's going to harm the people is not going to be comfortable if you approach to them to talk to them. And I know that there are people that they don't pay attention to that. They are open to talk to people no matter how they look. But you know, this is part of the way that many people manage in order to relate with others. And if you can look, you know, very clean, and this is what I mean by looking good, looking clean, looking, you know, presentable, that's gonna help you a lot. Besides, you're going to feel good. When you look good, you also feel good generally. The other thing is try to relax. Try to have the mindset that you're about to meet people, especially if you have social anxiety. And I know that this can take time, but as long as you practice, you're gonna be able to get there. Remember, creating connections is necessary for you to be successful in life, not only hard work. So the first thing that you need to take into account in order for you to apply the rapport is being empathic. And I know this sounds pretty obvious. We have heard this many times, and even in other videos I have actually talked about this. But for creating connections, you need to care about the other person and be genuine about it. People can tell when you're being fake. And why I'm also saying this, I think I already mentioned it. There are people who do it just to get a benefit from you. But you realize when somebody's being very genuine. And if you want to get a really good relationship with others and you don't know where to start, being empathetic is a really good one, because you're going to make this other person feel that they are being understood, that they are being heard. And what you need to do is just to actually care. The other thing that people do for creating rapport is to, you know, create these common experiences. Generally, when we meet people, we are in the same place. Maybe we are just doing some jobs, maybe we are attending a congress, And we can start by creating this small talk where we start discovering which things we have in common. And this can create this common experience that can build this kind of bond to this other person. You can just be a really good listener, and by being a good listener, if you're not the type of person that is always speaking, you can start, asking the person for something maybe you saw that we're doing, or just create a comment about the traffic. Try to create a way for you to break the ice and start this small talk, and then progressively start creating this stronger bond. The other thing that also people use when they create a rapport is mirroring. But you need to be very careful about this, because you need to be very subtle when it comes to mirror. And what I mean by this is, what you need to do is just to not only copy the other person's body language, but perhaps if they are presenting themselves as being very shy, you won't be just showing yourself as being very outgoing, because then you're gonna seem very invasive. But more like try to portray yourself as very shy as well, and not to be very intimidated to the other person. And the other thing is to maybe use the same vocabulary, not repeating what they say, because this can just cause, or can be very counterproductive, where this can create a lot of rejection, as the person is seeing like, oh, you're copying me, if you're being very obvious about it. So that's why I say this is a skill that we need to develop through practice. And these are the things you need to take into account. I'm gonna leave a link below where you can read a little bit more about how to create rapport.